Now, as we saw in the BBC's Blue Planet 2, plastic pollution is a real problem these days. And all this week, we'll be looking at the impact of plastic rubbish here in the Midlands, as well as meeting the people battling to reduce its impact. And we start with a company looking to radically change the millions of plastic bottles it uses for its spring water. Here's our environment correspondent, Gregory-Kumar.
If you want to talk about plastic, we need to accept that sometimes it's the best material for the job.
It's durable. You know, you can drop this bottle, pick it up and drink it. You wouldn't do that with a glass bottle.
In nearly 30 years, Wenlock Spring, in the shadow of Wenlock Edge, has gone through some big changes. Today they fill 20 million bottles of water a year. Some bottles are glass and some are plastic. So the amount of plastic going into the bottles has also changed. When the company started out, a bottle like this contained about 25 grams of plastic. They're about to launch a new line of these bottles that will contain half that amount. So lighter bottles using less plastic, but even though there's less of it, it's still brand new plastic. So now the company wants to start using recycled plastic in its bottles, which is greener and presumably saves them money.
It's more expensive, and that's the challenge, and that's possibly why it's not been taken up so quickly. It probably is 20% more for us to put recycled plastic back into our bottles.
Wenlock Spring found only one company that could supply the recycled plastic they needed for their new, greener, more expensive bottles. But the hope is by creating a demand for recycled plastic, that might change.
It's actually putting money back into the recycling economy to say, actually, hey, put your bottles into that recycling bin, let's get it back to a recycling facility, let's get it back to the companies that can recycle those PETs, let's make a demand for the end use, let's put it back in the bottle.
It turns out it's not enough to recycle plastic bottles. Consumers need to buy products that use recycled plastic too. Gregory-Kumar, BBC Midlands Today, Wenlock Edge.
And David's actually here in the studio with me now. So why is it so hard for Wenlock Spring to get recycled plastic for its bottles?
So this is your standard plastic bottle for drinking water, and in the UK, if it ends up being recycled, it'll come through curbside collection. You'll put it out with the rest of your rubbish, but it'll be mixed in with a load of other plastics, other colours, and by the time you've taken that plastic and made it into a new bottle, the end result is a bit smoky coloured, brownish looking, and that's not great if you're trying to sell spring water. So they do things differently in Norway. We've got some pictures from Norway. What they do there is they have a deposit scheme so people can pop bottles and cans back into this machine. It sorts it for them and you get money back, the deposit back. In this case, this chap made about £5 in 10 minutes. Now, the big advantage is you're starting to sort the plastics at source as you collect them. So you can take clear plastic, for example, and keep it going round and round in a virtuous loop. It doesn't get contaminated. It always stays nice and clear. That's the kind of scheme that I think people like Wenlock Edge would really like.
And all this week, you're going to be giving tips on for people how to use less plastic.
That's exactly it. We've got some plastic hacks, we're calling them. They're tips, ideas, inventions from people living in the Midlands. And today's comes from Suzanne, who lives in Cheltenham.
As a mum of two, I often found myself reaching for the convenience of baby food pouches such as these for feeding a hungry baby or toddler on the go. It really shocked me to learn that tens of millions of these little packages go to landfill every year. As a response to this, I created my Nom Nom Kids reusable food pouches aimed at babies and toddlers, so parents can fill them with homemade baby food or yogurts or smoothies. Each pouch lasts over 40 or 50 uses and can be easily washed in the sink or the dishwasher, so it's not too much extra effort to reuse them over and over again. Switching to reusable pouches is a small thing, but it can make a huge difference when you think of how much waste can be saved from landfill each year.
And we'll have more of those throughout the week. And tomorrow I'm going to meet the Marine Conservation Society, who are based in Ross-on-Wye, and we'll be talking to them about the impact of Blue Planet 2 on their work.
David, thank you. And you can read more about reducing plastic pollution on David's blog at bbc.co.uk/David Gregory-Kumar.